Hello friends, welcome to BookTube. Today we are going to talk about the book Hyperefficient by Mithu Storoni. Satish's life always felt like a race, rushing from morning till night, dealing with deadlines, emails, and endless to-do lists. It wasn't that he wasn't happy with his work, but somewhere deep down he felt tired and empty. One day on his way back from work, he decided to stop by a nearby bookstore. There was no particular reason, just curiosity. As soon as he entered the bookstore, his eyes fell on a book with a shiny cover. Hyperefficient. Optimize your brain to transform the way you work. He thought, efficiency sounds like something I could use, and without much thought he bought the book and started reading it at home. In the very first chapter, he learned a lesson that completely changed his way of thinking. The book talked about how traditional productivity models emphasize quantity over quality, a holdover from the industrial age. In today's knowledge-based economy, it's crucial to focus on the quality of output and align work processes with the brain's natural rhythms. Satish paused and thought, isn't my entire day just about doing as much work as possible? But is that really the case? He continued reading and learned that our brains don't function like industrial machines. They need breaks, and everyone has a natural rhythm. If understood, it can completely change the way we work. Satish realized he had never paid much attention to how he worked. He would check emails as soon as he woke up, rush through meetings and work late into the night. He had never thought about his brain's natural rhythm. The next day he decided to test this concept. Instead of starting his day with emails, he read a few more pages of the book with his coffee and thought, what if I focus on doing just one thing at a time, but with full focus? He sat down to work on a presentation that had been pending for a week. He turned off distractions. No phone, no notifications. He decided to focus on the quality of the presentation, not just finishing it quickly. At first, it felt difficult. He kept glancing at his phone, but gradually he gained control. When he finished the presentation, he realized it was one of the best he had ever created, not just in content but also in the satisfaction he felt while making it. Satish began to understand that quality isn't just about good output. It's also about the process where you lose yourself in the work. That night, he picked up the book again and glanced at the next sections. The book introduced him to another concept: brain natural rhythms. It explained that everyone's brain works differently. Some are most alert in the morning while others are night owls. He asked himself, when am I most productive? He started paying attention to his daily habits and noticed that mornings were his most creative time. He felt fresh and ideas flowed easily. But by afternoon, his energy levels dropped. Usually, he would push himself and drink extra coffee to keep working, but now he thought, what if I use this time differently? The next day he adjusted his schedule. He dedicated his morning hours to deep work, writing, planning, and brainstorming. In the afternoon, he focused on smaller, less intense tasks like responding to emails or taking calls. Within the first week, he noticed he was not only more productive but also felt less tired. It felt like work was flowing with him, not against him. One day, his friend Arun visited him and noticed something different. He asked, "Bro, you seem different, relaxed and focused. What's going on?" Satish smiled, pointed to the book and said, "This has changed my thinking. I'm focusing on quality, not quantity." Arun laughed and said, "It sounds simple, but does it mean you'll do less work?" Satish explained, "Not less, but smarter work. What I do now is more meaningful. Before, I only focused on numbers, how many emails I sent, how many calls I made. Now, I look at how well I did the work, and that's possible when I respect my brain's natural rhythm." Arun, curious, asked, "And how do I figure out my natural rhythm?" Satish replied, "Observe yourself. Notice when your energy levels are high, when you're most focused. Track your habits and most importantly, experiment." The conversation with Arun inspired Satish even more. He decided he wouldn't limit this new approach to just work but would apply it to his personal life as well. He would focus on quality in his relationships, health goals, and hobbies. He thought, if I focus on the process, not just the output and everything I do, maybe the way I live life will completely change. If you liked our free summary, you can subscribe to our channel, buy our membership, or support us via UPI. Now let's get back to the summary. That night, he was excited to move on to the next chapter of the book, but he knew this journey had just begun. Understanding quality over quantity and brain natural rhythms was just the first step. There were more lessons that could refine his thinking further. Satish closed the book, took out his journal and wrote, "Redefine efficiency, not just in work but in life. Focus on doing less but doing it better." For the first time, Satish felt that there could be a right way to work. He started adopting the lessons of redefined efficiency in his life. Every day he became more aware, focusing on the quality of his work. But the next chapter of the book taught him something deeper, something that could take his productivity to the next level. Before going to bed that night, he flipped through the next pages of the book and saw, "Align work with brain rhythms?" The concept sounded intriguing. It said, instead of imposing rigid work schedules, synchronize tasks with your brain's natural cycles. Early mornings and late evenings are often optimal for creative thinking, while midday may be better suited for analytical tasks. Satish closed the book and thought, brain natural cycles mean my brain works differently at different times. So why do I expect the same performance all the time? The next morning he decided to explore this concept. He started his day by observing his brain's behavior. He noticed that his mind was fresher and clearer in the morning, and ideas started flowing. He felt crystal clear. He thought, so this is my creative time. I should do tasks that require imagination or problem solving during this time. He opened his journal and started noting his schedule. He decided to dedicate the first hour of his morning to planning and strategy. He scheduled his most creative and challenging tasks for the morning slot. But Satish's real experimentation began when he paid attention to his midday behavior. Usually, after lunch, his energy levels would drop. He felt tired and distracted. Before, he considered this a weakness, but now he started viewing it differently. He had read in the book that this low-energy time could be perfect for analytical tasks. So, he scheduled data analysis and email responses during his low-energy periods. He noticed that when he worked in sync with his brain rhythm, tasks felt smoother and more effortless. One day he called his friend Arun and said, "Dude, I've completely changed the way I work. You should try it too. Listen to your brain signals and work accordingly." Arun asked, "Bro, this brain rhythm thing sounds a bit complicated." Satish laughed and said, "It's not easy, but it's effective. Just observe yourself for a few days. Notice how you feel in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Notice the patterns, then assign tasks based on those patterns." Arun found the idea interesting and decided to try it. Satish made another observation, brainstorming or working on new concepts in the evening. He realized that after a day of analytical and structured work, his mind became more relaxed and imaginative in the evening. This discovery completely changed his life. Previously, he would spend evenings finishing pending tasks or watching TV. Now he intentionally reserved that time for creative projects. One day during a meeting at the office, his boss said, "Guys, we need a more effective way to handle our project deadlines. Deadlines are being missed and the team seems burned out." Satish casually said, "Maybe we can realign our work schedules. If we assign tasks based on everyone's strengths and natural rhythms, the output could be better." His boss, intrigued, said, "Go on." Satish explained, "Some people are early risers and stay focused in the morning. They're perfect for high priority and creative tasks. Others perform better with data and analysis in the afternoon, and some do their best work at night. If we understand the team's individual rhythms and assign tasks accordingly, efficiency will naturally increase." The team listened to Satish's ideas and decided to try this new method for 2 weeks as an experiment. The result? Projects started being delivered faster and with better quality. When Satish returned home, he wrote in his journal, "Aligning work with brain rhythms isn't just about personal productivity, it can transform entire teams." Now, Satish's life had a new clarity. He realized that when he worked with his brain, his life became more balanced and fulfilling. He had almost stopped multitasking and tried to complete every task at the right time. Satish's new philosophy was, work with your brain, not against it. He eagerly closed the book, promising himself he would apply this new lesson to every aspect of his life. The journey wasn't over, it was just the beginning. Satish had already learned a lot from the Hyperefficient book. He had redefined productivity, understood his brain's natural rhythms, and was now ready to take his efficiency to the next level. But as he read further, he realized something. It's not enough to just do the right work. Taking the right breaks is equally important. The next chapter introduced him to the concept of working in focused intervals. The book said, engage in work sessions that last between 60 to 90 minutes, followed by short breaks. This approach leverages the brain's capacity for sustained attention and prevents burnout. Satish thought, so, does this mean that by working long hours continuously, I'm just exhausting myself? If I use breaks smartly, maybe I can become more productive. The next morning, he decided to test this concept. First, he divided his work into small sessions. He set a timer on his watch for 90 minutes. This would be his first focused work session. He promised himself that during these 90 minutes, he would focus on just one task without any distractions. As soon as the timer started, he put his phone on silent mode and kept it aside. He only opened tabs on his laptop that were related to the task at hand. For the first few minutes, it felt a bit difficult because his mind kept looking for distractions, but gradually he got immersed in the work. For the first time, Satish felt like his brain was completely centered on the task. When the alarm went off after 90 minutes, he felt surprisingly energetic. He wrote in his journal, 90-minute focused interval done. Felt productive and clear-headed. Now break time. For the break, he sat on his balcony and sipped coffee. He didn't check any emails or messages on his phone. He just observed the birds and nature outside. This short 10-minute break felt surprisingly refreshing. He noticed that when he returned to work, his mind was more alert and ready than before. He followed this pattern for the next few days and soon found that his productivity had improved significantly. One day at the office, his friend Vikas asked him, "Dude, how do you seem so calm and efficient now? You used to be stressed all the time." Satish smiled and said, "The secret is focused intervals. I work for 90 minutes uninterrupted and then take a 10 to 15-minute break. This has not only improved my work but also made me feel mentally lighter." Vikas looked skeptical and said, "This sounds like motivational book theory. It doesn't work in the real world." Satish calmly replied, "Try it out. It might feel difficult at first, but when you see the results, you'll thank me." The very next day, Vikas tried Satish's method, and his feedback was astonishing. He said that focused intervals helped him clear his email backlog in just one day. He felt guilty about taking breaks at first, but now he felt they were recharging him. Vikas said, "Satish, I've noticed that not just me, but anyone who adopts this method sees a natural improvement in productivity." Satish shared this concept with his team as well. At first, everyone was skeptical, but Satish said, "Just try it for 2 weeks. Set a timer, remove distractions, and take a 10-minute break every 90 minutes. That's it." The team experimented and the results were amazing. Satish noticed that deadlines were being met faster, and most importantly, people's faces showed less stress and more satisfaction. One day he took out his painting kit, which had been gathering dust for months. He started painting during his breaks and found that this activity helped him recharge mentally. He wrote in his journal, "Breaks aren't just about resting, they're about recharging creative energy." Satish also noticed that when he didn't take breaks after long work sessions, his energy levels would drop. Not only would the quality of his work suffer, but he would also feel frustrated. But now, breaks saved him from that frustration. One day his sister Anu asked him, "Bro, where did you learn this time management formula? I'm always stuck between office work and household chores. Sometimes it feels like even 24 hours in a day aren't enough." Satish explained to her, "Anu, the problem isn't a lack of time. The problem is that we're not using our time the right way. Try focused intervals, 60 to 90 minutes of dedicated work, followed by a 10 to 15-minute break. You'll notice your workload feeling lighter." Anu also adopted this method, and within a few weeks she noticed she felt more organized and stress-free about her work. For Satish, this journey became one of self-discovery. He realized that efficiency isn't just about increasing quantity, it's about focusing on quality, adopting the right mindset, and aligning with your natural rhythms. The next chapter of the book promised to show him a new direction, but Satish knew that what he had learned so far had already given his life a new shape. Satish's curiosity grew as he read the next lesson. The book said, "Take strategic breaks. Regular breaks, including short walks and naps, can rejuvenate the mind, enhance creativity, and improve overall productivity." He thought, "I'm already using this break concept, but maybe strategic breaks mean something more." That day, after finishing his morning work, he did some research. He learned that breaks aren't just for physical rest, they're equally important for mental reset. He made a simple plan. After every 90-minute work session, he would take a strict break. His first break was after lunch. Previously, Satish would often sit on the sofa and scroll through news or social media after lunch, but now he decided to use this time differently. He went to a nearby park. The cool breeze, the greenery of the trees, and the laughter of children instantly relaxed him. He spent just 15 minutes in the park, but when he returned he felt like he had charged himself with new energy. He wrote in his journal, "Strategic break 1, a short walk in the park. Felt calm and refreshed. Focused for the next task." This small experience became an eye-opener for him. The next day he planned a mid-afternoon break. He knew that afternoons were often a dip in productivity. This time he thought, why not try a power nap? He created a cozy corner in his study room, took a small cushion and a light blanket, and slept for just 15 minutes. When he woke up, he felt like his brain had completely rebooted. He thought, why didn't I try such simple things before? A power nap brought back all my energy. He wrote in his journal again, strategic break 2, a 15-minute nap. Felt like a mini vacation. Now, the impact of Satish's strategic breaks started showing in his work. His creativity increased. He noticed that when he worked continuously, his ideas would dry up. But when he started planning these breaks strategically, his ideas became fresher and more innovative. Satish and his team used to brainstorm for hours without breaks, which often led to low energy levels. But this time he took a different approach. Satish told his team, "Guys, today we'll try a new method. We'll do focused brainstorming for 60 to 70 minutes and then take a 15-minute break. During the break, no work talk is allowed. Just take a walk, grab a coffee, or do anything to relax." At first, some people were skeptical, but everyone accepted his idea. As soon as the first break happened, some people went to the pantry, while others stepped outside for fresh air. When they returned, the team's energy level was noticeably higher. In the next brainstorming session, ideas flooded in. One of Satish's colleagues told him, "Satish, this break concept is amazing. Earlier, I thought taking breaks was a waste of time, but now I feel that it actually boosts productivity." Satish smiled and said, "That's the magic of strategic breaks. Our brain is not a machine, it needs resetting. And when we take breaks the right way, our work naturally improves." A few weeks later, Satish planned to make his breaks even more interesting. He decided to step out of his comfort zone once a week and try something new. One day during his lunch break, he visited a nearby art gallery. He found that the paintings in the gallery sparked his imagination. He started thinking, breaks aren't just for resting, they can be a source of inspiration too. He wrote in his journal, strategic break number 3, art gallery visit, boosted creativity and felt refreshed. He also started implementing strategic breaks in his personal life. Earlier, even when he went on weekend outings with his family, his mind remained occupied with work stress. But now he decided to treat weekends as strategic breaks. One weekend, he planned a boating trip with his sister, Anu, and his nephew at a nearby lake. When he was in the middle of the lake, he realized he was completely present. No work thoughts, no distractions. That break was not just for relaxation but also an opportunity to strengthen his relationships. He wrote in his journal, strategic break number 4, family outing at the lake, strengthened bonds and felt emotionally recharged. One day Vikas asked him, "Man, how do you maintain such a perfect balance in everything, work, home and personal time?" Satish laughed and replied, "The secret to balance is breaks. But not random breaks, strategic breaks. When breaks are taken in a planned manner, they don't just restore energy but also allow us to pause and enjoy life." Vikas asked, "So, do strategic breaks work in every situation?" Satish said, "Yes, absolutely. You just need to know how to use them correctly. Sometimes, it can be a simple walk, sometimes a hobby, and sometimes just spending time alone with your thoughts. The purpose of a break is to recharge the mind so that when you return to work, you're full of energy." Satish's journey was no longer just about productivity. Strategic breaks had taught him how to maintain balance between work and life. He realized that breaks are not just for efficiency but also for happiness. As he opened the next chapter of his book, he thought, "What I've learned so far has changed my life. I wonder what new lessons are ahead." As he read the next lesson, he paused for a moment. The book stated, "Embrace nonlinear work patterns. Recognize that the brain does not operate efficiently in a linear assembly line manner. Allow for flexibility in work patterns to accommodate natural fluctuations in energy and focus." He thought to himself, nonlinear work patterns? This challenges the traditional 9 to 5 fixed-hour system. Interesting. This could give me a new perspective on my daily routine. Satish started his day as usual, but this time he paid attention to his energy levels. He noticed that his energy wasn't constant throughout the day. Mornings were super productive for him. He would wake up early and tackle his most challenging tasks. But as the day progressed, his energy gradually declined. He recalled a line from the book, "The brain works in cycles, not in straight lines." He thought, if my brain doesn't function in a linear way like an assembly line, why should I stick to a rigid schedule? Maybe I should design my work in a flexible manner based on my energy levels. He decided to experiment. The next day he completely changed his schedule. He dedicated his high-energy morning phase to creative and deep-thinking tasks. He picked his most challenging project and worked on it when his mind was at its sharpest. By the afternoon he felt a natural dip in energy. Instead of forcing himself to keep going with the same intensity, he switched to lighter tasks, emails, meetings, and routine work. By evening he noticed something surprising. He had accomplished more than usual but with less exhaustion. He wrote in his journal. Strategic break number 5. Working in sync with energy cycles, more productivity, less fatigue. A few weeks later, Satish shared this concept with his team. He said, instead of following a fixed work schedule, try aligning your tasks with your natural energy levels. Do your hardest work when you feel the most energized and save the easy stuff for when your energy dips. His colleague Priya tried it for a week and said, Satish, this is life-changing. I used to force myself to work on reports in the afternoon when I was tired, but now I do them in the morning and I finish them much faster. In the afternoon, I handle meetings and emails and I don't feel as drained anymore. Satish smiled. Exactly. Our brain isn't designed to work in a straight line. If we understand our natural rhythms, we can work smarter, not harder. This realization changed the way Satish viewed work. He no longer believed in simply putting in long hours. He focused on working effectively. One day, his mentor, Mr. Mehta, asked him, Satish, I see a different glow in you these days. You seem more relaxed yet more productive. What's your secret? Satish replied, I stopped treating work as a marathon and started seeing it as a rhythm. I now take strategic breaks and align my tasks with my energy cycles. It has made all the difference. Mr. Mehta nodded. That's wisdom, Satish. Success isn't about how much you work, it's about how effectively you work. Satish had learned a powerful lesson. Work isn't about pushing harder, it's about working in harmony with your mind and body. As he looked back at his journey, he realized something profound. When you work in sync with your natural flow, success doesn't feel like a struggle. It feels natural. And with that thought, he turned the page to the next lesson in his book, excited for what was ahead.